Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Ever since November 5th, last month, since the presidential election took place and Trump won, it just seems like all hell is breaking loose right now. We got unidentified drones flying over New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and other parts of the eastern seaboard. Department of Defense spokespeople don't seem to have a clue about what's going on, who's flying them, if it's commercial, if it's enemy, if it's recreational. We also have a scathing report from the Wall Street Journal. I made a video about it within the last 24 hours. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I encourage you. But the report basically summarized that President Joe Biden had a mental decline, and it showed to his staff and advisors within the administration on day one. As soon as Joe Biden took his hand off the Bible in January 2021, they started to see the decline. And one could argue that he had the decline before then, right? So now it's all this talk about, hey, maybe we're going to invoke the 25th Amendment, get him to step down and install Vice President Harris as the 47th president. And I really hope that that does not take place, because that would really be a threat to our democracy. Remember back in the summer where Obama and Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi allegedly forced Biden to step aside during the 2024 presidential election season. He eventually stepped down, but he was hemming and hawing, and he felt salty about it, obviously, just due to missteps that he made to kind of seal Kamala Harris as the next presidential candidate on the Democratic side. And of course, you've seen the results. She lost in dramatic fashion, having Trump sweep all 7 swing states, winning the electoral vote and the popular vote by a sizable amount. And so from there, the Democratic Party, the deep state, the administrative state, showed the American public who was the real threat to democracy. Kamala Harris was a presidential candidate that did not get 1 vote, but yet she was installed. She didn't get a vote from the American people to be the presidential candidate on the Democratic side. She was installed. And that should tell the American people that something just doesn't smell right. And things have been spiraling downhill since then. I want to get to a report. I want to talk about the fact that President Biden and Vice President Harris, they canceled their Christmas travel plans within the last 48 hours and rushed back to the White House. Why did they rush back to the White House? What is going on? Are we under a national security threat, or we're about to be attacked by the drones flying in the air? Does Joe Biden finally admit that he needs to step down and the 25th Amendment needs to be invoked so Kamala Harris could step in to be the interim president for the next 30 days before Trump's inauguration? Nobody knows what's going on, and that's what's infuriating about this administration. They are not transparent, even though they ran on being transparent. They're not showing any unity because they have an us against them mentality. They know all the information. We know nothing. We're kept in the dark, which is the reason why Trump got reelected, because the American people are tired of being spoken down to and kept out of the loop on what's going on with our national security. But real quick, I want to go to this X post. Biden's leadership and return to the White House under scrutiny. Recent reports and public speculation have focused on President Joe Biden's cognitive abilities, prompting discussions about the management strategies employed by the White House staff to handle his good days and bad days. Additionally, Vice President Kamala Harris and President Biden's abrupt return to the White House has fueled rumors, though no official explanation has been provided for these actions, of course, because they're not transparent. And we scroll down here, and we can listen to the sights and sounds of what took place recently. I mean, on the outside looking in, you're gonna. On the outside looking in, one may think, hey, you have a clip of cars speeding down the streets of D.C., but that doesn't mean that Kamala Harris was in it. You're correct, but that's why I go to X, folks, because you have people who are part of X that contribute to what the mainstream news cycle doesn't want to cover. All right. See, now you saw that, right? I could just go through the thread, and there's basically speculation that Joe Biden's health may be in deeper trouble than the public is aware of, and there may be some invoking of the 25th Amendment to get him to step down and Vice President Harris to step in for the next 30 days until January 20th, 2025. There's also speculation that the U.S. may be under attack from a foreign entity or foreign entities that have individuals that are embedded in the United States already. This could be concerning the drone sightings and things that the DOD has kept from us, information that the DOD has kept from us and can't keep from us anymore because we're on the cusp of something big happening. Want to get to this video on YouTube where it's basically I came across on X, and I just typed in, when I typed in the search bar, attack on U.S. soil, and this report popped up whenever we can get it up. Excuse me. Hey, you have it right here. Hey, smash the like button if you're enjoying this this segment so far. Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. If I don't see you between now and then, Merry Christmas.
You are taking a live look over New York City. This is right outside of the Fox studios there. I want to take you to a skyline view as we do talk about a developing story coming in out of that area. The FBI foiling an apparent terror attack planned at the Israeli consulate in New York City. The Times of Israel obtained a criminal complaint that states an Egyptian national living in Falls Church, Virginia, informed an FBI informant on how to join ISIS and share jihadist propaganda, including a video calling for the murder of Jewish people. The paperwork alleges the suspect encouraged the informant to carry out the attack on the Israeli consulate, even sending him instructions to make a bomb. According According to the criminal complaint, the suspect ran social media accounts that supported terror groups like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas, and pushed for violence against Jewish people. I do want to pop up this tweet here coming in from Governor Kathy Hochul in New York. She said, "Grateful for the quick action taken by the FBI in apprehending the suspect and preventing this cowardly act of anti-Semitic terror from occurring. Hate has no place in New York, and we will always stand with our Jewish neighbors." The Consul General of New York, who has been on this show frequently, posted on X as well, saying, quote, "The state of Israel deeply appreciates the swift action and cooperation of the American security services in thwarting the attempted attack on our consulate." I do want to discuss the situation even further and more about potential terror attacks, as this is not the first time we've seen something like this happen. Let's bring in Kevin. He is a very good friend of the show, distinguished lecturer in the...
Yeah, so before we get to the distinguished guests on this Fox News show concerning this topic, I want to say that this current administration has created an environment since October 7th, 2023. There has been this Islamist, terrorist, Hamas sympathizer support, not only within the United States, but all around the world, where there are people who want Israel to fall. For whatever reason, I don't know. They've been our allies for the longest time since I've been alive. And they'll be the United States allies long after I'm gone. But it's the way that this current Biden-Harris administration was silent when there were universities across the country that were protesting about Israel going after Hamas, when it was clear that Hamas was responsible for the massacre of thousands and thousands of men, women, and children on October 7th, 2023. And you hear people say, Israel has the right to defend itself. That goes without saying. So the fact that American state officials, our state officials over here repeats Israel has the right to defend itself, I think that was, just lip service. Because if they truly believed that, then they would have given Israel all the U.S. aid that they'd agreed to give Israel in order to go after terrorist cells in their country.
Criminal Justice Department at the University of New Haven, also a retired FBI special agent. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Good morning, Josh. Glad to be with you.
All right, so first off, the big question here I do want to ask, how does the FBI go about foiling plans like this that are so, I guess, intense? You're talking about a potential terror attack in New York City.
Yeah, this is something that unfolded relatively quickly. A local police department received a tip about postings on X by Hassan stating that in support of ISIS and support of Al-Qaeda. They passed that along to the FBI. FBI put an undercover agent in contact with him by way of the internet, and it switched from the internet over to secure communications over the internet. And over a period of time of about a month and a half, conversations developed where the undercover was recruited to carry out an act of terrorism. Hassan was providing directions on how to make a bomb, trying to come up with a target. It was not directed at the consulate initially. It was directed at a Jewish target in New York. And over a period of time, he settled upon the consulate there in New York. But this is a trade-off here of taking down a case before you've made a full case and being able to stop this from developing in a very short period of time. The Bureau has switched from allowing cases to develop all the way and then stopping at the last moment to preempting it by doing arrests early on. It's more important to stop events like this from happening than it is to end up developing a full case and arresting on more serious charges.
And talking about the criminal case here overall, in order to make this a criminal case, the federal officials would have to, I guess, have information that this is a verifiable threat, a real potential threat, right? They can't just say, well, there was communication, so it's possible, but you're talking here about sending bomb-making instructions and things of that nature.
Yeah. He discussed the target. He discussed techniques to attack the target. He suggested either using an assault rifle there to wreak havoc or to use a TATP bomb, and provided detailed instructions on how to go about constructing the bomb, to include sizes of the ball bearings used for shrapnel inside a suicide vest. So he was giving very detailed instructions and direction on how to carry out this attack, and he was doing it in support of ISIS or in support of Al-Qaeda. I don't know if he specified which one of those two groups that he was carrying out this act, but it was to attack Jews. And he wanted to attack Jews in New York City because there are a lot of them in New York City, according to Hassan.
We've reported on several of these foiled terror attacks recently, so I wanted to get your take as well. Are they happening more and more, or are we maybe just hearing more about them now than we did previously?
So ever since 9/11, there has been a somewhat steady stream of these type of attacks, none of them on the same level as 9/11, but nonetheless, there has been a steady stream of attempts here in the United States to take out various targets in support of radical Islamic fundamentalists. Most recent one I can think of was
this guy, the suspect, allegedly, right, who was planning to bomb an Israeli consulate in New York City. He is an 18-year-old guy by the name, his last name is Hassan, attended George Mason University in Virginia, and basically got caught planning this attack on Jews in New York City. He had deportation orders, which means that he was in this country illegally, which brings me back to the point that if we didn't have wide open borders, we wouldn't be going through this mess. You see how the correlation stacks up like that?
Movement of an individual from Canada that was attempting to come into the United States to attack a Jewish community center in New York City, I think actually in Brooklyn, and that was the same type of developing case in that the subject was in contact with an undercover agent, was being directed to obtain weapons, but in that case, the subject was actually traveling to the United States to lead this attack. In Hassan's case, he was providing directions but was not intending to take part in the attack himself. This is an 18-year-old college freshman at George Mason University in Virginia, and he was facing deportation charges even before this most recent terrorist attack was being planned.
Are there more of these terror plots that maybe exist that the FBI is working and they're able to thwart or foil that the American people just don't know about? There are certain ones that maybe get more, I don't want to say airtime, but they're posted on social media. You see them on news reports because they involve things like anti-Semitism. But I imagine that there are other ones out there that are happening that people just aren't aware of.
So terrorism is a real tripwire as far as the media is concerned, is that if there is accusations that people are going to be attacked for terrorist purposes, and those normally are picked up by the media, but whether they have legs to them, that is carried and tracked intensely as some cases appear in the media, that's a different matter. Is that some really catch the attention of the press and you see a lot of attention to it, others less so. But there is this relatively steady stream of these type of cases that has been going on that was going on even before 9/11, but we really became aware of it here in the U.S. when 9/11 happened. When that put everybody on alert to be aware of the fact that terrorism may happen at any given moment. But I think that the important thing here is that a lot of these events are thwarted by efforts by the FBI, by the Department of Homeland Security, and by law enforcement in general, because of the fact that they are so attuned to the fact that these are serious matters and that they take great efforts to try to resolve these issues without the terrorist attack actually occurring.
So I don't know how to take this report. Do I take it seriously, non-seriously? They're tooting the horn of the FBI, the same FBI that still has not finalized a report on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. Where's the report? And, Christopher Wray, he resigned because Senator Grassley wrote him a scathing letter about how the FBI failed under his leadership. Alexandro Mayorkas claimed in the past that the border secure. There was an impeachment a couple of times. Congress tried to impeach him, but the deep state runs deep. The administrative state runs deep. So he was able to escape that. But Department of Homeland Security was behind approving the security apparatus concerning Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. A lot of questions to be answered here. And, I don't buy that the FBI is doing something so spectacular as to spoil a plot to hit an Israeli consulate in New York City.
What do we know about potential charges and sentences here? You did mention deportation. So what do we know about all of that?
So he's being charged right now with one count of demonstrating how to manufacture an explosive with the intent to murder internationally protected persons. The attack was going to go on at the Israeli consulate in New York City. That carries a potential exposure of 20 years. So the deportation charge would be put on hold. He would serve whatever time he gets for this case if convicted, and then it'd be turned over to ICE for deportation.
I guess this could maybe serve as a reminder to folks out there the importance of maybe see something, say something. If you do come across something, even if it's on, let's say, social media, or somebody says something to you, you should report it to investigators, right?
In this particular case, that's exactly what happened. Someone saw something on X, and they reported it to the police, and it resulted in this person being arrested before he could carry out an attack on the Israeli consulate. So absolutely, if you see something that smells like terrorism, you should report it either to the local police or to the FBI tip line. All those types of potential cases, those leads get followed up on to determine whether or not it is a viable threat and whether or not there is something there to actually investigate. But rest assured that any type of lead like that, any type of information you are providing is taken seriously.
All right, Ken Gray there at the University of New Haven. Thank you so much, as always, for being here with us and breaking it all down.
All right, so yeah, you heard that, right? Tooting the horn of the FBI. Listen, if they foiled the plot, they foiled the plot. I'm glad that they did. No one deserves to be hurt around the holiday season. Nobody deserves to be hurt any time of year. But, I link Christmas to the Jewish population, of course. It may be a derivative of Judah or whatever the case is. I'm not a historical expert, but I'm glad that the plot was foiled. I'm glad that the FBI played a role in that. And the see something, say something message has been resonating since 9/11. And when you're out there shopping, out there with your family, you're ice skating, you're on the road, going to grandma's house, you have to keep your head on a swivel. You got to get to your kids by the hand when you're crossing the street. Be careful in the parking lots. I always say that parking lots are a prime place where accidents happen. You have a lot of people who are impatient, who want to get where they want to go, and they're not really caring about who and what's around them. If you want to know more about the details of this mass casualty plot that got foiled by the FBI, go to the New York Post. It kind of lays it out right here. I'll put the link in the description below. And again, smash the like button if you enjoyed this content. Be safe out there. Merry Christmas. I'll see you on the next one.